Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Tech Support. In today's episode, I may no longer actively work for my old telco, but you can never truly leave tech support. Sure, let me break that AES encryption for you. Well, I had a free solution, but I guess sales $2 million idea works too, sure. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I may no longer actively work for my old telco, but you can never truly leave tech support. Many here know I finished a Poli-Sci Masters last December and moved to full-time union-related work. I mentioned I was studying for it quite a few times these last few years and explained more in comments since. With no need to vent, I largely stopped posting, even though there's many old stories I could and may still write. But given I have friends and a girlfriend still working my former job as tech support senior staff for said telco, I'm inevitably still in the loop. On May 31st, Android Pay finally launched in Canada, and mostly it works without a hitch. But unlike traditional credit and debit cards, banks do not cover a single penny if you get defrauded. They practically hang up on you if call about that. It's in their TOS, so it's part of the risk. Android Pay transactions here are currently capped at $100 CND, but it can add up real quick if someone gets a hold of valid credit or debit info and abuse it on a phone that can't be traced to them. Telco I used to work for was in panic mode for a couple weeks in June, because several phones from tech support's labs were implicated in multiple reported frauds. Each instance below $100, but it added up fast. Even though nobody would refund a single penny, the telco was swiftly told a bunch of issues were related to their tech lab test Android phones. It was clearly going to be an issue, as even when it's obvious they usually take forever to figure out what's going on. Over dinner with Amelia at her place, I learned it had been a problem for a couple weeks. Amelia, so yeah, it's been pretty insane. I heard we've been asked to provide a full list of all our testing devices for blacklisting to make sure it stops happening. Over 20 different devices involved so far, but they want like 100, full-on ongoing witch hunt. Always related to credit cards and sales database. I'm not on it myself, but management are pulling their hair off. Bitewave. Nothing surprises me anymore there, but did we have issues with a single bank or multiple? Amelia, only one, which is why management has not turned over the emails yet probably. Bitewave and access protocols for labs haven't changed in the last 6 months? She nodded. There's no high security features. You're supposed to sign your name on a piece of paper before you leave a lab with any test devices, but the place is far from using retina scans to confirm. So I start messing with my phone, ignoring our Mexican food a minute. Bitewave, okay, well, the only bank complaining has weak Android Pay security. They just need card numbers, CVVs, and from there you can validate with a simple email address with no mandatory confirmation and your Android Pay is live. Recipe for disaster. Amelia, that's been TSS's angle so far, but nobody on tech floors have access to customers' credit card numbers, never mind CVVs. And managers do watch who checks out test devices usually, so we've started using tracking apps again to figure out what's going on. Cleaning staff has been ruled out this time, they couldn't see any customers' full credit card info. So they've been mostly looking at sales. Bitewave, sure, sales staff gets to see full credit card numbers and CVVs. But only tech staff have physical access to the testing device rooms. Both have access to customers' email addresses for app validation. So absent someone with 2 sets of security cards messing around, which is unlikely, the most logical culprit is Amelia. A manager or a sysadmin. They're the only ones who get full DB access and creds for test devices. And nobody cares if either forget to sign out a test device. Still the same as last year. But it's easier to blame it on imaginary sneaky salespeople apparently. Bitewave, okay, I know you're off hours, but you know I can't leave an easy problem unattended. Mind if I use your telework desk after this? I occasionally miss this stuff. She nods and smiles. After dinner. I should probably have asked for consulting fees, but I just logged on and looked at senior staff emails listing a maze of devices pulled from labs over Android Pay issues. I then texted Gregory, my best contact at internal IT, featured previously for stuff like fixing an uneven keyboard or say helping me shut down the billing system. Bytewave, TXT, Gregory, I'm sending you a short list of devices from Tech Test Labs. Please cross-reference emaze versus billing database access. Top 3 users who checked the relevant test accounts most would be nice. Amelia, we tried escalating, but there's still suspended tickets for. Haven't lead anywhere yet. But it's worth a try, I don't know this guy. Gregory, TXT, wait, Bytewave? I know I owe you a few, but I thought you didn't even work here anymore. Bytewave, I'm on indefinite leave for union-related work per the work contract, but I'm still technically a full patch L3 tech. I can whip up a Severity 2 remedy ticket if you want, I don't mind. Though I'm indeed technically still an employee on, likely permanent, union work leave, that would have been possible, but it would have sent critical 90 minutes alarms to middle and upper management rated major network emergency. We always try to avoid that kind of thing, otherwise crazy stuff tends to happen. Gregory, hee hee. That won't necessary. I'll do it, it's a quiet night anyway. 30 minutes later I get a single name PM'd back. Gregory, got a floor manager at tech support, Anthony, who accessed every billing account on your list according to internal IT logs. Do you really need a top 3? No, I didn't. Funny thing is, I had no clue who that guy was, started after I essentially left. Bytewave, Amelia, here's your thief. Who is he? Never heard of him? Amelia, I'm not too sure, a new hire from March I think. Poached from Evil Satellite. So we have a couple months old manager sneaking test phones out of test labs, abusing his access to the billing database and to user accounts to add valid Android Pay creds, treating themselves to stuff worth less than $100 repeatedly. Nothing to do with us, it was middle management's job to figure this out within 2 days of first occurrence. Bytewave, yeah, but when do they ever? Also, lower management's pay is awful, all tech senior staff earn way more than any of them, so the notion they are above suspicion for theft was always flawed. You got your guy anyhow. Go see the floor director tomorrow and take full credit. Most people don't even know I still technically work there anymore, take the win. She gave me the sweetest kiss and the thief was summarily fired pending further legal proceedings. It's unlikely what he stole will be recovered because despite VIP perks, he was already late paying for his heavily discounted cable, internet and mobile. Bytewave's tales on TFTS. Sure, let me break that AES encryption for you. Here's a tale from long ago, when I was new at the telco that provided all those stories I've shared here. I've written a few about my early work there, such as the spam saga, or say the very first tale I posted here, but there are still many noteworthy or cringy tales I remember from these days. Bytewave, $telco. We apologize for the unusual delay. My name is Bytewave, how may I help? In those days, the delay was always unusual. That's long been fixed, but once upon a time hour-long wait times at peak were shrugged as unfortunate. Panicked lady, yes, I need help with my password. I sent a file to my home from my workplace from your mail server, it's very important data. It's a backup and we lost the original, see, so I need it absolutely. But it rejects my password. Thinking we were still talking about her email password, I assume this will be trivial. Unless it's not. Bytewave, certainly, I can help with that. We'll review your username and password, and if need be your email client's configuration. PL, oh no, that works fine. It's only the file I need I can't open, I think your mail server corrupted it. It was sent a while ago but I just opened it now, we didn't think we'd need this before. It's from October and 9.7 megabytes, and I don't have a copy in the sent items at my work computer anymore. Given our strong insecurity practices at the time, which still exist, but were worse then, even as a frontline tech I could see her plaintext password, and look at her mailbox, everything was fine on our end. Bytewave, I can see that email. Yes, there's a valid copy still in your mailbox on our end, so you can try to grab it again, but given your mailbox works fine and your authentication credentials are okay, I don't see how. PL, the password. If my file wasn't corrupted, my password would work to open it. And then it dawns on me as I look more closely at her precious file. It's zipped. That would have made perfect sense given how close she was to the attachment size limit. I grab a copy, try to open it with 7-zip and start laughing on mute. The precious file was password protected, AES encrypted. And she expected me to help her break it. I immediately explained it couldn't be done without the password used when initially encrypting, that there was nobody in the world who could break AES encryption, but that most of all, that had nothing to do with us or our mail server. She just needed the password, and we could in no way provide it. PL, but that's not right. I know the password, I know I zipped it myself, and I always use the same password, damn it. You should have it in your files, it's always Mexico 84. It has to have been pooched while on your mail servers. Bytewave. No ma'am, it's not. The content of the files are simply encrypted, possibly you made a mistake or decided to alter your password that one time. It's really a good idea not to reuse passwords. I'm afraid this is beyond what we'll be able to help you with today. She's crying on the line now. Criers made me feel especially bad when I was new. Her plaintext password on our end is indeed Mexico 84, and since I have her zipped file in front of me, I go for a Hail Mary effort before hanging up. Mexico 84 obviously doesn't work, but my first instinct is, of course, to think about cap locks. OMG. Bytewave, ma'am, just one last thing, have you made sure it wasn't a cap locks issue when you typed in your password? PL, you mean like Mexico 84? Yes, of course, there's no caps lock on, but I tried it with caps lock on too. Bytewave, no ma'am, if your caps lock had been on accidentally while typing Mexico 84 back when you encrypted it, your file's password would be Mexico 84 right now, with a lowercase m. PL, oh my god, thank you, I love you, OOHHH, my case files aren't lost. I want to tell your boss how great you are. Bytewave, that won't be necessary, since I took liberties with our support limit by helping you unlock your files. It really has nothing to do with the services we provide here. Please note we won't be able to help you with similar issues in the future, and remember encryption is no good if you reuse your passwords. PL, oh you better believe I'm not using that password thing ever again on my files. Oh god, I thought I lost it all. Thank you. That's all I needed. Beginner's luck AES. All of Bytewave's tales on TFTS. Well, I had a free solution, but I guess Sale's $2 million idea works too, sure. About a year ago, I shared details about the hyper-wideband project my telco is working on, where we bond up to 32 QAMs downstream, 8 upstream, to deliver fiber-like speeds over cable. 1 Gbps plus over copper wire is pretty nice. It's now cleared TRT, and that has been a fun ride. It was made more complicated because tons of employees joined the tests purely to get those speeds, most without any technical knowledge whatsoever. As unionized employees, we have a work contract that dictates all our employment conditions, including the discounts and freebies we get in terms of digital goods as VIPs. Internet-wise, the contract stipulated we could have basic high-speed for free or 75% discounts on any better plan. Because free is better than cheap, a lot of employees were sticking to the basic package, a mere 10 halves mid-line. But even though it's a perk rather than a right, employees generally got in very easily into all TRT and BRT projects, even outside technical departments, so a lot of people signed up for those purely to get free 1 Gbps internet. That would not have bothered anyone if the freeriders kept a low profile, but on closed test boards we started seeing posts from people ranging from girls from sales to some people from our ex-convicts work release program posting stuff and asking questions utterly irrelevant to the sole purpose of the tests, making sure 40 bonded QAMs work as our traditional, small-scale bonding. It's a very narrow test. Theoretically the test boards should see very few posts unless something goes spectacularly wrong, but now it was flooded with neophyte queries about email, routers, our horrible security suite, etc. I told my boss the root of the problem was that the free internet VIP plan was no longer attractive, as it had not been updated for 15 years. I suggested it should be at least updated to a 60/15 plan, which was supported under old hardware and wouldn't really cost the company anything. He agreed it was something the company could give us, and we both clearly understood going any higher wasn't practical, as it would require giving every VIP, which includes not only all employees, but many contractors, and even a ton of concierges who gets perks to ensure we can get access to major buildings easily, one of the brand new, expensive hyperbonding modems that can push to 1 Gbps. He said he'd pitch it to the director, but shouldn't be too much of a problem given little to no cost, and that they'd also talk about tightening the rules to apply for testing if you have no relevant expertise as well. Roughly at the same time, someone from sales apparently also told their boss the free plan was crap and told her everyone was applying to the test team specifically because it was so bad. Without any expertise about bonding QAMs or throughput capacity, these two randomly decided employees should get 200/20 for free. That requires expensive hyperbonding modems that only 2% of the staff had, and is basically as much trouble and expenses to set up as 1200/200 for the company. Technically, we do have some small outbound bandwidth costs that depend on volume, but it's overall pennies. Weeks later, directors met and the issue came up. Ours presented the suggestion my boss had sent up the chain, but apparently accidentally omitted to explain key details about costs and the technology gap between old wideband modems and new ones. Thinking it was just about sending new profiles to existing hardware, the VP decided 200/20 was better than 60/15 and sent orders to upgrade all VIP profiles while tightening the rules to join the test program. I was flabbergasted when I got CC'd on that email chain, but I assumed as soon as they'd realize this would require several thousand service calls and as many brand new free high-end modems and routers they'd back down, as the company is certainly not in the habit of giving us any expensive freebies not mandated by the work contract. But a young union steward had already told the sales director a letter of agreement was needed to change the work contract clause about VIP internet because of this, and quickly got a signature on a piece of paper saying that the company now offers 200/20 to all union employees. And boom, this was now binding. At that point, I was told management expected we could at least save on service calls by having employees bring their modems home themselves and bring back the old ones, but nope. I had to remind them we can't do that. ByteWave. When we launched VoIP over a decade ago, the CRTC mandated every VoIP-capable device we install must have a special lock to ensure 911 access is available at all times, so that someone can't easily disconnect a modem from the cable network during an ongoing emergency. Guess what? Pricey MTAs capable of bonding 40 QAMs can handle 128K voice feeds, and are thus VoIP capable. We're legally bound to have them installed by road techs, the only ones allowed to have the tools to install or remove these small locks. These cable locks are known to be easy to remove using a small fork, but it doesn't lessen the company's obligation. Management could have still nixed it for contractors and concierges and whoever else makes their way into our VIP list, but somehow didn't. Thousands of service calls went out, replacing everyone's modems and giving them free routers as well. All of which could be provisioned to 1 Gbps plus at little to no extra cost comparatively, but will likely stay provisioned for 200/20 indefinitely, because that's what the sales director decided to pitch. The cost of the overall change has now been evaluated to about $2 million, considering the high cost of the hardware involved, and the fact the sudden high demand for swift service calls led to substantial overtime offers for road techs. All of ByteWave's tales on TFTS.